Good evening, afternoon, night, morning, whenever you find a way to watch or listen to this podcast. It is me, Omar Sean Borja, the Burger Popper, without Jackson, who has some big family news to share, but I won't share that. I'll wait for him to come on the podcast and share that, but it might be a while. But until now, I'm just conducting some interviews, getting into the flow of the off season. I know it's been a while. Just a little bit of context. Just went through a move from El Paso all the way to Augusta for my next duty station. I don't know if you noticed the different setting in the background. So that's why we have not recorded since November. Plus, work was pretty busy in November, early wake ups and late nights. Just with different operations with my old unit, but just getting in the swing of the things with the off season, interviewing players that I met, came across at the Unity Bowl, which I wrote a couple articles about. It was an interesting experience to say the least for all the players involved. We'll just leave it at that. If my guest today, great Delaware State defensive lineman Eric Montes, who had a great career, just wrapping up a great career, and was invited to the Unity Beach Bowl in Myrtle Beach and played well. I know you had a sack. I think you forced a fumble too. But Eric, thanks for joining, and happy to have you on.
Appreciate it. I'm glad to have you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So starting off, I mean, this is something that you suggested. Special interests and hobbies. Like, what might we not know about Eric Montes?
Oh, let's see. Like I said, I was thinking. I would say like off the bat, I would say like a special hobby that like I know no one really knows besides like maybe like my like immediate family, maybe like my roommate, is that like I like love to fish. Once the like the warm weather starts kicking in, I can go fishing every other day. I just it's just a hobby that I just grew up doing. Um, Although like I grew up like around the city, I was always able to like try to find water somewhere, and I was always able to just have some time to go fishing at some point. I would say a hobby of mine is definitely fishing, and I'd say like just listening to music, uh, like just game day music just hits like so like I mean everybody will tell you game day like music always hits just different, like it just always hits different. So I would say listening to music too, just because like it really just gets me in that like in that zone. But I know some people, a lot of people, they just listen to like rap, rock and roll, depending on where you are. But like my tradition with game day music is gospel and R&B. I don't know what it do. I don't know what gospel do to me, but gospel and R&B, those two just go together perfectly on game day. It just gets me in that zone. I don't know what it is, but you know what I'm saying. Between those two, it just gets me to that place. So I would definitely say like just listen to music too on my off time, especially when like coming up game day. Um, like I said, like interest, yeah, like definitely fishing, 100%, big time fisher. Um, and I'm trying to think of like anything like interesting about me either that like people don't really know. Um, oh, I recently just had an interview too. They asked me like an interesting fact. So like they asked me like interesting fact about me, and like one thing that like no one knows besides like some people on my football team, like the coaches that I had, is that I had a Division 1 offer coming out of high school, to play quarterback. I never played snap at quarterback. never never played snap at quarterback. So yeah, it was kind of surreal when I got the call. Um, but like it was like right before I signed to Delaware State, because I was contemplating on either going to Delaware State or Rhode Island. Those were like my top two. And then right before signing day, I get a call from just some unknown number that I just didn't have saved, and it was a school down south, and they had said that they were going to offer me a quarterback, and I had like repeated like back to him. I was like, I never played a snap at quarterback. Like, I play like outside linebacker, D end, and he's like, no, for sure. We just see you as like a versatile athlete, and I'm just thinking to myself, like regardless if you see me as a versatile athlete, that's the complete opposite side of the ball. Like it's like I was made of questions, but then I was like, I'm just I want to be thankful, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep on pushing throughout my day. But it really, it kind of like surprised me. So I know when I tell people about that, when they ask like an interesting like fact about me, that's probably like the one thing I'd have to say that's associated with football, is because like I was surprised at it just as much as everybody else. So
Yeah, I mean I would not have guessed that. Honestly, doing some research, I know you have some experience carrying the ball, which we'll talk about later on. Just a bit a fun question I had about that. But on the music note, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the gospel. With gospel music, the Lord training our hands for battle. I want to ask about R&B because I throughout college I was a big R&B guy. So
yeah.
who are your go-to artists for R&B?
First song I put on automatically as soon as I get on the bus. First song is "Free Mind" by Thames. That's the first song I put on as soon as I get on the bus. It just helps me just like kind of cool down, just get my just kind of like just calm my emotions and just really just lock in. Like because like everybody's kind of worked up like that. Like everybody kind of has a different perspective going into game day. Like and like you kind of get those butterflies, get those jitters, but like just like walking to the bus, like you just like I always do like a sort of breathing technique type of like um kind of like what is now I'm just like now I'm fumbling like meditating. That's what it is. I completely forget, but like I do sort of like a meditation breathing technique like the day of the game, and then it kind of just calms me down, and I throw that song automatically on and just kind of just gets me there. So I listen to Tim's, I listen to Eric Badu, I uh listen to Aaliyah, um and then Sade. I think that's how you say her name. So I think so. I think that's how you say her name. I know how to spell it, and I know her songs, so I just put that. I put that on all the time. So my favorite song by her is Pearls. I'll listen to that night and day. Love that song. So I'll throw that on, and then I'm also a little bit of an old soul too. So like I'll put some like Temptations on. So yeah, yeah, so like I'm kind of all around, but like it's mostly R&B and gospel. But like I'll change it up, and I'll put a little bit of Temptations, a little bit of Boys to Men. I'll put a little bit of those two in there. So, but yeah, like my go to is definitely like like Aaliyah, Thames, Erica Badu, just that type of music. So yeah, 100%.
That's great to hear. Like for me myself, I'm a calm guy, so I like a lot of Givian.
Hmm.
I also like a lot of independent artists too. Like my playlist, I don't really have like a set artist other than Givian and Mac Ayres. I'm more on the indie side of R&B. So Mac Ayres and Givian are my two favorites. But I mean, anything that's the calm beat, calm vibe. I don't particularly have many favorite artists. Like there, I mean, when I look at my playlist, it's just a scattering of just a bunch of artists because I just go on the Spotify radio stations and look at related songs and just listen to it. So I have two playlists that have over 1,000 songs each that are different chapters of my life, like college and then post college life. So yeah, I mean, it's good to hear someone just speaking about R&B and everything, and it's kind of an underrated genre, I feel like. But with that, it's great to know, Eric. Honestly, looking at your career, great numbers throughout your career. I think 13 and a half sacks, over 100 tackles in your career, and I know you messaged me about some of those stats being underrepresented, which
Hmm.
we won't get into it. If you don't want to, I don't want to muddy anyone's name, but I want to ask, with throughout your career, like, is there any player, any NFL player, or anyone that you modeled your game off of on the D line?
Yeah, 100%. I would say going into um my like my freshman year, I really didn't know like what I was getting into. Obviously, just because like I'm just like a kid coming out of high school, just like all right, like like this is what I wanted to do, but I was just playing my game. Then um, once I realized that I was playing Division I football, and I was going against because like we also have like FCS teams will have those money games. So then obviously going against FBS teams, I quickly realized that, this game is a lot faster. This game is a lot faster, and I need, I can't just rely on just going through the motions, really. So, I just trained and trained and trained and trained just over and over again. And then I had kind of looked into, once I had got my feet wet and I went into my freshman year and kind of going into my sophomore year, I had looked into so many D linemen that were like built like me or sort of like along the lines. The first one off off the bat was Aaron Donald, just because he's undersized and he doesn't weigh that, he doesn't weigh all that, he's not no 6'5", 300-pound D tackle. I know people that are in the league and that know him personally, and he's like 6'1", and he was, I think his All Pro year, he was like, well, I mean, multiple All Pro years, but I know just the one year he was saying that he was 255, 260, which is it's just it's crazy. So once I had realized that, I really just looked at his game. I was just studying him, just just night and day, just looking at him like he was a book, just seeing what he was doing, what keys he was reading, really what the difference was between me and him. I know that's a lot, but if it was just maybe every 15 minutes, here and there, I would learn something out of it. So I definitely go base it off of him, um, just because of just kind of undersized with me and undersized with him. I feel like, I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. I mean, he's human too. So it's I have to, granted, I mean, he's, probably one of the best D tackles ever played, but it's I can still just learn off of him. So he was definitely 100%. He's one that I watch. Lawrence Taylor, just a classic guy that I always watch, just because he's just a straight dog. He's just a straight dog. And then another guy I also watched too, was Chase Young, just because I had also I had trained with him. Not a lot of people know that, but I trained with him for a little bit, and so he gave me some really helpful advice. So I kind of was kind of putting his advice to perspective with what he was showing on tape, and I was kind of putting two to do together. And I was kind of just collecting all that information and just trying to see what best can work out for me. Although I'm not maybe 6'5" like he is, I have to, I have to find my niche. I have to find what I'm really good at. So and that was really leverage and speed at that point, because I know since I'm shorter than most D linemen, and I'm shorter than basically all the O linemen, there's an advantage when it comes to leverage. So I can get underneath them, and then I can just beat them with speed, just because I'm not necessarily 300 pounds. I'm 260, but although 260 is a decent amount compared to other positions. I mean, put down the line, it depends on how you move. You know what I'm saying? Speed definitely works out in some cases. So I would say those top three were definitely three players that I definitely just kind of looked up to, took notes from, just watched really.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the size listed in your Delaware State bio, the Aaron Donald, you modeling yourself off Aaron Donald makes a lot of sense. And I mean, makes sense for anyone of any size, really, because Aaron Donald is arguably one of the greatest defensive players of all time, much more so lineman. So all those are all great models. And I had no idea that you trained with Chase Young. I mean, honestly, because that's a great mentor to have, obviously. So with my next question, the MEAC is known for physical play. At least that's what people on the outside see. I mean, through the Celebration Bowl, their perceived dominance is due to the physicality that's seen in the MEAC. What was it? Which of the 6 schools, or which of the other 5 MEAC schools, had the toughest offensive line that you had to face? And is there a specific lineman that gave you issues throughout your career that you remember?
Um, I would say, I mean, just just kind of going off a little bit of like the grid. I think just like the MEAC and HBCU football is underrated. Just how it is, especially MEAC and SWAC. I think we're very underrated and swept under the carpet when it comes to competition. Um, we like there are dogs in the MEAC and the SWAC. Like you can go on with all these other FCS schools and FBS schools, and yeah, 100%. Like there's definitely talent on those teams. But like I just think when it comes to MEAC and SWAC, like, people just really like forget about it because like I feel like a lot of it is just like a size difference. Like it's not necessarily talent. It's just size. But I mean like the talent and like the heart and like the grit that we go through, it makes up all of that. I feel like it when we go like just different competitions, stuff like that. So I just wanted to say that like, I think we're underrated and that we should definitely be looked at more. But when it comes to offensive line, I would say the best team out of the five. I would say the one that always gave me and other D linemen work was South Carolina State. I don't know why. It just always was, and regardless if it was their year or there wasn't. They always had some pretty good O line. They always had a decent O line. Um, Norfolk had a pretty good old line my freshman year though. They had a really good line, but I would say consistently, I would say South Carolina State, 100%. Um, and there wasn't really necessarily one guy that gave me trouble. I know there was one guy that like we always would bump heads, and it was things like I think his first name was Nick, number 78 on South Carolina State. Like regardless, anytime he was a guard, so I wouldn't see him that much. But anytime we would meet up, it wasn't friendly. It just was not friendly. And it's like it's all love. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just it's a game we play. So it's all love at the end of the day. It's all competition. Everybody wants to win. So but yeah, I would say we always bump heads. But he's I mean, he's a good athlete. He's a good old lineman. I respect his game. But I would win some, he would lose some. I mean, or I mean, I would win some, and he would win some. So it was. I would say him because he came in when I came in, and then his last year was this past year, just like me. So we always saw each other. But I would say him, and probably a little bit of um, this one tackle. He went to Howard. I think his name is, I think if I pronounce it right, it was like Aneem Dankor. He he was, I think, a grade or two above me. He I like the thing is that like I had started my freshman year um one game, and he was an upperclassman. He was either a sophomore or junior, and this was right after high school. This is like the spring COVID season. And my D line coach says that I'm starting this game. I said, okay, all right, just it's just chills. I was like, all right, bet. And then I just like it was kind of like a surreal moment because then I realized like, wow, I'm like really running on this field, and just like the end of last year, I was just playing high school ball. Like what is going on right now? And then like I'm going against this. Like, he was like 6'8", 360, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, like I wasn't facing people like this like back in high school, so it was kind of like just surreal. And then fast forward, he got signed, I think, to the Eagles, but I think he just got traded, I think, recently to like the Commanders or something. So it was kind of surreal that like I didn't even know I was going against someone that had gotten into the league. But then like once I got my feet, like I said, my feet wet, I realized that it's just a game. Like it's just a game that you play. So I got comfortable, and I did my thing, but I would say him and Nick were two O linemen that definitely kind of like, they kind of made me work a little bit harder because like those were like the people that I got introduced to coming in. So it's like, wow, like I mean, I can't just be, I can't just be, not caring that like I'm going against these guys. Like I had to get better, like looking into, you know, going against these people, that were 6'8", like preseason this, preseason that. So I would say uh, those two guys definitely, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Danquah definitely. I didn't realize how big he was. I had heard in his name in a lot of pre-draft circles last year, but yeah, I mean, just looking at his page really quick, man, like, what a huge human being.
Yeah, he was a treat.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I understand how that can be surreal, honestly. Yeah, just a quick transition. And I mean, looking at your career, and this goes to my next question. I mean, it seems like you're at Delaware State getting significant playing time for, we'll call it, the past 4.5 seasons since 2021 in the spring, and onward. Does this vast experience in college, do you think it gives you an edge over other prospects at your position? Or what are your thoughts on your prior experience and just the wealth of it?
um, you're talking about like underclassmen coming up, or are you talking about?
Yeah, I guess underclassmen are just four guys who just played 4 years, for instance, who came in 2021 after the pandemic, couldn't benefit from the extra year of eligibility.
I think so, 100%. It's just like it really messed. I mean, COVID really messed a lot of things up because it's just like because like your school didn't stop, but your eligibility kind of did. So and then then you had that little spring season that some people had, and it really kind of like I said, kind of messed some things up. And I think like if you get all that back, I mean, yeah, it's 100%. I mean, it's just like it's a season taken away from you, and then at the same time, like you're also playing like this like 5 game season that means something but doesn't mean anything. Like it was really weird. So like yeah, I would think and like anytime you like you take you like you take something away like an opportunity like that. I mean yeah, I think it would have definitely been a beneficial. I mean 100%. It's just it's just it's more time for people to get better, more time for people to get looked at. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so another question I have, just in general. So, how's the draft process going for you in this offseason? I know you played in the Unity Bowl this year. I guess how is the draft process going? If any teams reach out to you?
It's been going. It's been going like like a roller coaster. Like some days I won't get anything, some days I'll get a couple people. So it's like it's very up and down, which I expected. Um, I had gotten invited to the FCS Bowl, and then once I had played there, there was only like a select few that got bumped up to the Tropical Bowl. So I kind of did my thing there at the FCS Bowl, and I got bumped up to the Tropical Bowl, and I was considered one of the standouts at the Tropical Bowl. So I was going against people that were at the FBS level, and there's a couple people from Division FCS, and like you also still have like your Division 3 and Division 2 that will trickle in there, but it's all good comp. So and I had a good game. I had 2 good practices. I had a good game, and it really kind of raised some eyebrows for some people, especially after the game, because I had a few tackles, um, had a TFL, had a sack, bunch of hurries, hit on cue. So I definitely stood out. So then that's kind of when some scouts that came up to me and some agents were messaging me as well. So it kind of all hit me like at once. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I was talking to, I know the Bears had talked to me. Uh, I know the Colts had talked to me, reached out to me twice. And then I talked to the Ravens scout one time. And then I was talking to the Lions twice. I talked to the Lions at the FCS, and then they had met up with me again at the Tropical Bowl, saw me there, saw that I was, doing my thing, got some contacts, have been in contact with them. So, that's kind of cool. It's just, but it also depends on everybody's type of scheme if they're going to talk to you or not. Because you know, some teams are just not going to come talk to you. But for me, that's being undersized. Uh, Lions were one team that came up to me, and they were kind of giving me like a James Houston comparison. So I'd be on the line, outside linebacker type, kind of like a hybrid. So it kind of just depends on everybody's scheme and what they're about. So but it was just a good experience. Like I was also just just I was just blessed to be down there and to experience everything because it only comes around one time. So I was fortunate enough to do my thing and have those teams come up to me. So it's been going steady. Because like I said, it's been going up and down with teams reaching out to me some days and some days they don't. So, I've been keeping in contact. I would say around for 5 teams like in the league right now, probably like the list that I gave you, and then a couple of overseas as well have also reached out to me.
That's great to hear. I'm glad you mentioned the Lions because my best friend is a huge Lions fan, and I'm really happy to hear that. Also, too, like I feel like any player would want to play for Coach Campbell. Like it's the culture there and everything. Like,
Yeah.
man, he can motivate me to just do really, just to do insane things. Honestly, uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Tropical Bowl. I did want to go to that one, just being here in Georgia. But since Army had a guy, West Point had Casey Reynolds at wide receiver, and we haven't had a wide receiver play an All Star game since I want to say like 2009. But my wife and I were going to leave for our honeymoon like the day after. So yeah, she was not a fan. So
Oh.
I went to the Unity Bowl instead.
Hmm.
Which it's all good. It worked out in the end. I
Right.
mean, I'm reviewing you right now. We're having this conversation right now, so it all
Right.
works out. Something I wanted to ask, kind of moving away from the draft topic and I guess X's and O's kind of talk. If for those of you watching this podcast or listening to it, you guys know that Jackson is more the X's and O's guy, and I'm just a clear journalist here. But I did want to ask because last year you guys played Hawaii Week 0, high profile game. Not many games on that week. You guys were the only game on TV or streaming, frankly, that whole time. Um, I guess how great was that? How great an experience was that? Aside from obviously going to Hawaii, how great an experience was that to bring exposure to Delaware State's program? Because I know you guys have struggled recently, but this is a program that's on the rise, and I mean you guys have shown glimpses of promise. I know back in 2021, I had picked you guys for the Celebration Bowl just based off what you guys did in the spring, but there's glimpses. But what did that Hawaii game do for the program in terms of I guess making a name for themselves in the country? You guys competed very well in that one.
Yeah. I think we did. Like kind of like how you said. I think just based off of like a naked eye, I thought we did pretty good for 3 quarters. That was just like the biggest. That was just like the biggest thing that we've been struggling with this past 2 seasons now. Is just like we'll want to play, but it just won't be for 4 quarters. So it's tough. But I think against Hawaii, we definitely sparked some interest, like you said, with going into halftime. I think it was like 14-7. And then I think we scored, I think opening drive coming out of halftime. So it was 14. It was tied up at, I think, in the middle of the third at one point. And I think it was 21-14 at the end of the third. So like I said, we were hanging with them. And it was cool. I mean, like kind of like how I said before, like I just think the MEAC is just very underrated. when it comes to just talent and just the ability to just do things. We knew we could hang out like that we can hang with him. It was just whether or not like we wanted to, and that's kind of like what we've been looking for these past couple of years. Um, but I think that experience was very up and down leading up to the game, just because uh, I think every platform that covers sports or football definitely heard that we missed our flight. So like that was also that was just like, it was kind of like, it's just like, man, like you just can't win. So it was just like, it's like, wow, this is like how we're gonna start a season. So, um, but yeah, it was a very up and down experience, just because of like the whole missing the flight situation and then getting delayed and finally getting there 2 days later. Um, but then just the experience of being there, and because like for some people that might be their first and last time they'll ever be in Hawaii. So it was a it was a very cool experience, 100%. Being playing football on an island, like people just don't do that. So it's like it was cool. But yeah, I think the time there was like I said, it was good. Like I knew we could hang out with them, but it like I said, that those 4 quarters we have to play, to you know the whole way through, because that, like I said, that's just been where we've been struggling, going back to back seasons with one win. But hopefully with the new coaching change, with Deshaun coming in here, hopefully he can kind of change that culture, and see what's going on, because I've talked to Deshaun, and I've talked to the D line coach, because the D line coach actually coached me my freshman year. So I have some connection with my D line coach and coach Deshaun Jackson. So it's kind of just like, it's kind of cool, just kind of seeing two worlds meet, and seeing what the difference is on what he wants to bring, and the culture, and how to win more games, and to kind of help us slowly creep up to being competitors, and hopefully we can be that 2021 type of team, and get to around 500, and then maybe oh, I mean, maybe even like the next year, like we can we can go way over that, and go into the Celebration Bowl, and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm just hoping that like this team can really just turn around, and I'm thinking, and I'm hoping that with the help of Coach D-Jack, and with the staff that he's bringing in, can really change the culture around.
Yeah, I mean, you guys played so well. I forgot you guys missed your flights. Honestly, like you you reminded me that happened, because I honestly forgot that happened. Honestly, but
Yeah.
but at least you guys got there.
All right.
Better. Not even late. You guys got there in time for the game. So I mean,
Yeah.
all that matters. But like you said with Coach Jackson, I know he's loading up. I think I saw he hired Clinton Portis as
Mhm.
his running back coach. Man, that must be exciting, honestly, for guys like players our age. Which honestly, I guess like yeah, with players our age, like getting play at like for under Deshaun Jackson, under Clinton Portis, it's great. And I have high hopes for the Delaware State program, and I've been wanting you guys to go to the Celebration for a long time, because I love when more teams go to the Celebration Bowl. I feel like it's just good it's just good storyline. It's good for everyone. So I mean, Howard, I think Howard's the biggest evidence that like if they can do it, everyone can make a Celebration Bowl with the
Right.
academic restrictions they got, and how bad that program was a few years ago. I mean, I remember when they were getting beat 76 to nothing, Boston College, and then I think it was like 79 to nothing to Maryland. And you turn around a few years later, they're almost beating Northwestern. So I believe in the Hornets. Ever since the spring season 2021, you can go back into the podcast and be talking about the Hornets. It's there. It's there. But
I
something else I
appreciate it. I
want,
appreciate it. I
of
appreciate the
course,
love.
of course, of course. It's all love except for the 2023 Army game. I had to root for my alma mater on that one. Won't mention that much. I just got to point it out. I was not rooting for you guys on that day. Um,
I mean, I had a game too. I had a pretty good game, but I mean, you would never tell based off the score.
Yeah, like I remember that one too because I think Isaiah Alston, our receiver, was like Pro Football Focus like receiver of the week, which never happens for anyone at Army for obvious reasons.
He was
Um,
good though. I ain't gonna
but
lie. Like I've been like one thing about me is that I'll study a team to a T, and although he's not a guy that I'm going up against, I knew like I was telling my DBs all throughout that month that we were about to like go. I'm like, bro, like this guy is a problem. Like you need like he is good. He he is good. So I knew even going into that, like yeah, I, I remember him, you know, vividly, 100%. Like yeah, he had a game and he was good. Like I said, he's also another player that we played against that I completely respect his game. So yeah, he's a good receiver.
yeah, absolutely. I hope he gets a pro look. He's at Iowa State now. So with that, I wanted to ask another question just about, general the program. So I mean, this year you guys played Delaware for the Route One rivalry. Delaware moves up to FBS this year also. So I think meetings between you guys and the Blue Hens will be less and less frequent in the future. What are your thoughts on the rivalry in general? And like, does it kind of disappoint you that you guys won't be crossing paths in the coming years?
You know, it's like it's I guess you can say it's like, yeah, it's a little disappointing, that like we won't be crossing paths because it's like, like I don't know, just based off of going against them a couple times um throughout my time here. It like there was always, some sort of like, competition with anything. Although, the score might not dictate that. Um like there was always something there. So I mean, I would definitely say that it's a little disappointing that we won't be crossing paths as much, given the fact that they're moving up to FBS. But like they deserve it. At the same time too. I mean, they're a good program. They have a really good coach right now. So I mean, yeah, it's just you know it is what it is. I mean, but it's not gonna, like I'm not gonna lose sleep about it. I'm sure no one else is gonna lose sleep about it. But I mean, it's definitely kind of like kind of like a little damper that you won't be facing like an in-state rivalry. Given the fact that it's been happening for so many years now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always hoped you guys would pull one out against Blue Hens, and I still hold out for the day that you guys do. But from what I've heard, a lot of people just think it's just something that you guys did just because the whole Delaware battle for Delaware Route One rivalry thing that was just very cordial on both
Yeah.
sides. Something else I wanted to ask as like we begin to wrap up is I went back in the film and I looked at your 31-yard carry. I saw your career stats and I saw you had a 31-yard carry. The Norfolk State fake punt. You looked like a natural there. You looked really comfortable. Could a move to fullback be in your future?
Yeah. You said will a fullback be in my future?
Will a move to fullback be in your future?
Yeah, definitely not. Um, just because it's fun to carry the ball every now and then, but that is not my specialty. That is not my specialty. And I actually played fullback in high school, so maybe I looked a little bit like natural just because I was reminiscing from back in high school when I used to do it. Because they would just give me the rock anytime it was like a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, and we had to get a first down. That's basically when I got it. So so yeah, I guess you can say I was like a natural just because of that. But yeah, fullback will definitely not be in the transition from a D lineman. I would as a bunch of defensive old heads would tell me is that I'd rather give the hit than be hit. So so yeah, no, a fullback will definitely not be in that situation.
I mean, I'm just saying, like Patrick Ricard for the Ravens moved from D line to fullback. I mean, same thing with Roosevelt Nix. They're both Pro Bowl fullbacks. So hey, that could be you, Eric Montes, full Pro Bowl fullback.
Well, we will see. I mean, I'm a yeah. I don't see that at all. But I mean, at the same time, I am a selfless player. So like, I mean, if a team thinks that I'll do good there, and it's going to better myself, better the team, and better us to win, then I mean, so be it. You know what I'm saying? So it just. I guess we'll just have to see if I'm going to become one of those guys and be a Pro Bowl fullback.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I mean, I would love to see. I would love to see more fullbacks in general, but I think you would make a good fullback just
uh,
based on that run, just
I
based on that
appreciate.
run.
I appreciate. And then like and uh, what was it? Oh, they even got a I mean, I've even told you before with like my stats are completely messed up, but like it was a 34 yarder, not a 31. So like I had to put that out there just because since we're talking about it. But I mean, and I think what is it on top of the what is it, because I had mentioned too that I had joined like the top 10 of like career sacks of all time in Delaware State. I think I ended up with like 17 and a half or something like that. So I'm like number 7 I think right now. Besides that, I still have to double check. I might be, I might have the like I think what is it, like the most average yard per carry, just because I only carried the ball one time, so I averaged 34 yards a carry. So it's like it's like I'm not sure. So like I cheated the system a little bit, but I mean, if I have that title, I have that title.
Yeah, definitely. It's the math works out, the simple math and everything. So I mean, I'll let you claim that. I mean, one time it's funny you say that because like the one time I caught a pass in high school. I mean, I played cornerback and special teams, but like they were like this was like a JV. It wasn't even JV. Like my high school had 4 teams. There was a sophomore team, so we were playing this really bad school, and I caught the one pass I've caught in 6 years of playing football, high school, middle, and I ended up being the leading receiver that day. And that's something that I hold to the end of this day. So you take what you can get.
Exactly, exactly. That is exactly what I say. 100%. Take what you get.
But Eric, yeah, as we near the end of this interview, thank you for joining. Is there anything finally you want to add? Anyone you want to shout out or anything you want to promote?
Ooh, let me see. I'm gonna shout out Charles Brown Jr. He's a linebacker, well, senior linebacker. Like he's going into the draft as well. He's preparing for the draft as well with me. That's who I just got done working out with. I told him that I was going to be on a podcast, and I told him I'm going to shout out you. So I'm just keeping a promise. So I told him I'm going to shout out you. My man, everybody called him Debo here. So my man Debo is a dog. So just to give him some love. That's my dog right there. He I want to shout out him, and then of course my roommate, 100%, Darren Cook. Him and I are D line, and he's more of an interior guy. And I mean, obviously, like I played more of like the edge type of outside linebacker, sometimes D tackle, regardless of the situation. But he's definitely a dog. He's been here with me since I got here. So I mean, he's a dog. Darren Cook, Charles Brown Jr., and then I can't forget about my man Jaden Sutton. He broke like 1,000 yards. I think he led the MEAC this year with the most rushing yards. By like a running back. I think he was a top receiver. He got invited to the Legacy Bowl as well. So I got to shout out my dogs 100%. Got to show them love. So I definitely shout out all of them. But promotion wise, I don't think I'm I don't think I have anything to promote unless there's any like fishing, companies that are looking for like a salesman. I mean, I'm willing to be put out on a boat. I'll fish all day. Like I'll do that. But no. I just had to shout out my teammates 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of talent on Delaware State, and I don't think I have quite a fishing following, but maybe that'll change.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe after this podcast, you never know.
Yeah, we do need sponsors, so I mean, you never know. There's a fishing company watching, but thank you again, Eric, for taking time on a Friday night and after your workout too, just to sit down and chat. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope to talk again in the future, and hope to see you playing on Sundays, whether it be in the spring or the fall. I mean, I would love to see you play professionally.
I appreciate that. Like I said, I appreciate having me on here. I mean, it's not a problem. I enjoy, just having people, recognize other people, especially underrated people. Like myself. So it's a blessing, and like I said, I appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And until next time, everyone, thank you for joining. Stay tuned for more interviews throughout the offseason. Be having a variety of players from the Unity Bowl that I made connections with on the podcast, and we'll just be releasing them throughout this month and the next month. But until next time, everyone, peace, love, and soul on the Burger Popper. There we go. Yeah, thanks again, Eric.